The story begins 30 years ago, when the government formed a team of 5 superheroes, each with extraordinary powers. The most powerful and courageous among them was made the leader of the team, and his name was Captain Zoom. This team was created because 5 dangerous and powerful criminals had escaped from prison and launched an attack on the world, causing widespread destruction. At this moment, the 5 superheroes were called to action. They fought bravely against the criminals and, using their incredible powers, easily defeated them, saving the world. It was revealed that Captain Zoom had the ability to run faster than lightning, though he was still just an ordinary human. However, due to his powers, the government made him a superhero, and he became known as Captain Zoom. Zoom's brother was also part of the team, and he had powers too. When the general realized that there was now a threat of alien attacks on Earth, he decided to use radiation to further enhance their powers, making the heroes even stronger. This radiation was then tested on the entire team. Zoom became even stronger after the radiation, but his brother suffered adverse effects. He became much angrier than before, with negative thoughts clouding his mind, leading him down a dark path. He started thinking badly about his own team, blaming them for his losses. As a result, he fought with his own teammates and ended up killing 3 superheroes. When Zoom realized that his brother had crossed all limits of evil and had become extremely dangerous, he fought with him and defeated him. He then imprisoned his brother in a remote mountain location where he could never escape. Now, 30 years later, Zoom had lost all his powers and was living as an ordinary human. However, after these 3 decades, a scientist discovered that Zoom's brother was preparing to escape from his prison. Shockingly, during all these years, his brother neither aged nor died. He was still as young and powerful as before. His immense strength was such that he could outrun time itself. The scientist was worried that Zoom's brother would emerge as powerful as ever and seek revenge on his brother, intending to destroy the world in the process. Zoom had lost his powers, so to face his brother, the general decided to form a new team of superhero children, each possessing unique and astonishing powers. However, they only had 12 days, as Zoom's brother would break free after that time. Naturally, this was a very short period, and in such little time, only Zoom could train the children properly. But the general also knew that Zoom would never agree to do this willingly. Therefore, he ordered that Zoom be brought in at any cost, even if it meant using force. Meanwhile, Zoom was living an ordinary life as Jack. The only power he still had left was the ability to stir his coffee with just his finger. That's when the scientist, along with his colleague, a doctor, arrived to convince him to train the new superheroes. However, Jack refused, saying that the world no longer needed new superheroes since the military was capable of handling any threat. Knowing that Jack wouldn't agree so easily, the scientist injected him with a tranquilizer, hitting him square in the chest. Jack fell unconscious, and they proceeded to take him away. The scientist and the general brought Jack with them and decided not to tell him about his brother. They were afraid that if Jack found out his brother was still alive, he might get too excited or emotional and refuse to fight him. After that, we were introduced to the new team of young superheroes. The youngest was a 6-year-old girl who had the strength to lift any heavy object with ease. Although she had this amazing power, she was determined to pass the superhero test, for which many kids had been called in. The next was a 16-year-old girl whose mind was so powerful that she could move objects just by thinking about them. She wanted to join the superhero team because the other kids at school used to bully her. Then there was a boy who had the power to turn invisible. He used this ability to prank others, as he loved to disappear and surprise people. Lastly, there was a 12-year-old boy with a unique power. He could inflate any part of his body and make it larger. When Jack regained consciousness in the lab, 2 options were laid out in front of him. Either he trains the new superhero team, or if he refuses. If Jack refused to cooperate, they threatened to send him to jail under false charges. Left with no other option, Jack agreed. He then met the scientist's assistant, a doctor, who was a huge fan of his superhero persona, Captain Zoom. She admired him so much that she had read every book ever written about him. When Jack was introduced to the new superhero team, he was shocked. Wait, what? These are little kids. You expect me to train a superhero team with these kids? This looks more like a team for playtime, he said, bewildered. The scientist responded, even though they may look like children, they have extraordinary powers. He then began explaining each child's unique abilities. The doctor chimed in, telling Jack that he would need to train these kids in a way that would enhance their abilities through rigorous training, as they couldn't expose them to radiation due to their age, which could have dangerous effects. Afterward, one by one, the kids began demonstrating their powers powers, some could cling to walls at lightning speed, while others excelled academically, showing their genius intellect. Finally, 4 kids were chosen to become superheroes, each possessing the abilities I've already described. Now, it was up to Jack too. Only 9 days were left before Jack's brother would return. The scientists and the general were discussing the situation. Yes, they were very happy with the kids' team, but they were also worried whether Jack could train them in such a short time. The general was so eager to see the kids ready quickly that he was even willing to test radiation on them. However, the scientists disagreed, fearing the risks and potential harm it could cause. At first, the kids didn't pay much attention to Jack, thinking he was just another trainer. But when the doctor revealed that Jack was actually Captain Zoom, the kids were overjoyed, as they were all fans of his. They excitedly gathered around him, except for the boy who could turn invisible. He still didn't trust Jack. Jack, the scientist, and the doctor began observing the kids' abilities. The 6-year-old girl, who had the power to lift heavy objects, surprised everyone by lifting the heaviest weights with ease. However, Jack wasn't too fond of her because she talked a lot and constantly asked him questions. Meanwhile, the boy who could disappear was causing trouble, as every time someone approached to see his powers, he would vanish. Then one day, Jack asked the doctor why they were so determined to train and prepare the kids. The doctor, however, didn't provide an answer, not because she wanted to hide the truth from Jack, but because she herself didn't know that Jack's brother was returning. The doctor then called for a meeting and told everyone that the kids had far more power than they were showing. In fact, they were mentally holding back their full strength. In the middle of the meeting, Jack tried to join them, but the guards threw him out. The scientists then introduced the kids and Jack to their special doctor, who wasn't a human but a robot, specifically designed to assist the team of superheroes. Jack was thrilled to meet the robot doctor, and he decided to take both the robot and the kids to an old place where a large spaceship was stored. Secretly, Jack snuck the robot doctor and the kids into the spaceship and took off for a fun trip. With the help of the robot doctor, they had a great time as the robot used his mechanical arms to serve them fast food and ice cream. However, their little adventure didn't stay secret for long, as the news soon appeared on TV. Someone uploaded a video of their spaceship to the internet, and people started thinking that aliens who eat fast food and ice cream had invaded Earth. When the scientist and the doctor found out that it was Jack's doing, they were very upset, but since he was Captain Zoom, there wasn't much they could say to him. Later, when Jack was asleep, the little girl with the super strength came to him and woke him up, saying, "I had a bad dream. I'm scared, and I want to stay near you," feeling pity for her. Jack didn't let her sleep in his bed since it was small, but he did offer her the nearby sofa to sleep on. However, the clever girl dragged the sofa closer to the bed and comfortably lay down, thinking she would sleep much better there without any fear. The next day, the scientists sent all the kids into a room filled with colorful balls. The balls were shot at the kids, and the goal of the training was to teach them how to avoid noise and bullets. The children did very well during the training, and afterward they were taught how to run faster using a runner. They practiced alongside Jack, honing their abilities even further. Their powers were growing, but there was still much left to learn. After the training, all the kids were exhausted and sat together to talk. The boy who could disappear said, "No one cares about us kids. Everyone only cares about themselves. Even Jack is just doing this for the money." When Jack found out that the boy said this, he went to his room, a special room designed so that the boy couldn't disappear. Jack told him the story of how he and his brother became superheroes as kids. That's when the boy realized that Captain Zoom's real brother was the one who had been imprisoned. Talking about his brother made Jack feel emotional. After a while, he took the boy out of the room because he suspected that the boy had more than just the power to disappear. Jack then told him, "Close your eyes and focus. Tell me where the girl with the mind power is right now and what she's doing." The boy did as Jack said, and to everyone's surprise, he could see exactly where she was and what she was doing. He told Jack she's in her room, dancing. This was an ability of a sharp mind, something very rare and found in very few people. That's why people like him are considered special. Jack was very happy because this boy had 2 powers, so he made him the team leader. Jack then went to the doctor and said, "The kids are training really well, and you're doing a great job too." Well done. Hearing this praise from Jack made the doctor blush with happiness. Meanwhile, the general and the scientists took their team to the mountainous region where Zoom's brother had been imprisoned. They positioned themselves near the path from which he was sent, believing that Zoom's brother would return along the same route. The scientists had created a robotic trap, and the entire plan was to use the help of the kids to catch Zoom's brother in this trap. This would not only stop him, but also bring him back to his original form, freeing him from the evil that had corrupted him. With only 48 hours left until Zoom's brother was supposed to arrive, the doctor threw a party for all the kids. Everyone was having a great time, dancing and enjoying themselves. The boy who could disappear was dancing with the girl who had mind powers, while Jack was dancing with the doctor. But suddenly, the general arrived and interrupted everything, bringing the fun to a halt. Their entire fun was ruined. Jack then saw that the radiation was being brought in. He realized that the same thing was going to happen to these kids as what happened to him and his team 30 years ago. The radiation was going to be tested on them too. He tried to persuade the general not to use the radiation, arguing that it was not suitable for the kids, but the general was adamant and refused to listen. Jack couldn't let this happen. In the middle of the night, he woke up all the kids and took them to a safe place where he explained the general's plan to them. He decided he would protect the children from this. The boy who could disappear used his abilities to find out where all the scientists and doctors were. He discovered that everything was being done to kill Jack's brother, who was about to return. He informed Jack about this. When Jack learned that his brother was alive, he was in disbelief. He sent the kids back and confronted the general angrily, questioning everything. The general confirmed that yes, Jack's brother was alive and was about to come out in the next 2 hours. Jack tried to explain to the general that, sure, the kids have powers, but my brother is so dangerous that they won't be able to handle him. So please don't do this. Stop this mission. But instead of listening to him, the general has Jack locked in a room. Meanwhile, the doctor starts taking all the children to the scientists, but some of the general's doctors begin to chase them. The doctor then uses a powerful blast to send all the pursuing doctors flying away, showing that she also has special powers. Afterwards, the doctor takes the children to free Jack and places them on the spaceship, and they all leave the area. The place where Jack's brother was imprisoned is now open, and he emerges into the open. At the same time, their spaceship arrives. Jack leaves all the children inside and goes out alone to meet his brother. Since they haven't seen each other for so many years, Jack's brother doesn't even recognize him. This is Jam, his brother, who is still young and powerful, whereas Jack has grown older and weaker. Jack tries to approach him and explain, but his brother simply places his hand on Jack's chest, sending him flying far away. Jack falls down, and during this time, all the children also exit the spaceship and come outside. As soon as Jack's brother sees them, he becomes distracted. Taking advantage of this, the scientist throws the robotic net at him. When Jack's brother sees the net coming towards him, he easily deflects it with his hand, sending it towards the weightlifting girl. The net was about to endanger the girl's life when Jack awakens his powers and, at full speed, rushes to move the girl out of harm's way, saving her life. The net crashes into the wall, causing the entire wall to collapse. Jack then uses his super speed to get ready in just 5 seconds, put on his shirt, and return. The scientist informs them that if they throw Jack's brother into the robotic net, he will revert to his original self. So, they need to act quickly. The disappearing boy repeatedly distracts Jack's brother by vanishing and reappearing, while the telekinetic girl lifts many stones with her power and throws them at Jack's brother. Meanwhile, the boy who can enlarge his body uses his inflated size to hit Jack's brother, sending him soaring high into the air. Seeing this, the weightlifting girl. The girl launched several dangerous attacks using a pole and sent Jack's brother towards the doctor. The doctor then blew a powerful gust of wind, and finally, he fell into the robotic net. Soon, all the evil within him was expelled, and he returned to his true form. He emerged, feeling ashamed of his mistakes, but Jack forgave him and embraced him. Jack and the scientist then formed a new superhero team with all these people included. They boarded their spaceship and flew back, feeling very pleased with their success, as their mission was accomplished, and Jack's brother was saved from death and turned back into a good person. It was also decided that radiation would no longer be used in the future. Instead, powers would be enhanced through training. Now, they would work with Zone to confront and fight any future threats. And so, the story of this film comes to an end.